Wow, so this video was very, very highly requested. I love how I thought there was gonna be a competition though. Like I asked you guys on Instagram and Twitter, I think, which video you guys wanted to see, like a new Maybelline collection, CoverGirl, or Burts Bees. And like everyone wanted Burts Bees. And so that is what we're gonna film today. I have like all the different types of makeup out here in front of me and like let's just dive in. Hello everyone! I'm here today to share with you guys a full face first impression on some new makeup from Burts Bees. We have everything from blushes, foundations, we have eyebrow pencils, mascara, like a whole bunch of different stuff to test out, and I will do an update for you guys at the end of the day as well. We'll see how everything is holding up. I hope you guys enjoy this video. Give it a thumbs up if you like these full face first impression type videos. Don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss out on new videos every Tuesday, Thursday, and Sunday. And without further ado, let's get into this. So we're gonna start with the eyeshadows, and they've come out with a range of 4 different neutral based trios of eyeshadows. I like a little like honeycomb shape. Because bees, you know? We've got more purpley tones, a nice trio of nudes. There's also this really interesting one, they call this one Blooming Desert, and it has this really interesting orangey red shade, which I'm kind of intrigued by. And then in each of these trios, there seems to be a range of shimmers and mattes. Some of them have all shimmers, like this one, and then some of them seem to have a mixture. So this one has, I think, 2 mattes and then 1 shimmer. It says here they are long lasting, they're mineral based, they're not going to smudge very easily, and they're very blendable. So we are going to put that to the test today. I'm gonna start by just swatching these. They look like this on my fingertips, so I mean that's pretty good so far. They sort of walk the line. They're not too creamy, but they're not really dry and dusty either. And then swatching them on my hand there, you can see not bad pigmentation. They're not super like pow in your face pigmented, but I feel like this will look really nice on the eyes as well. In terms of application on the arm, they're definitely not the most pigmented shadows that I've ever used, drugstore or otherwise, but the shimmers are quite pretty. And the mattes at least swatched very well on my arm. They're not dry or they're not crumbly either. And sitting down to actually apply these to the eyes, I just noticed that there is no neutral matte transition shade. It's either a mid-tone but it has some shimmer in it, or it's really dark and something that you can apply to the lash line, but it's going to look a little too heavy in my crease. So that's something that I'm missing from the get-go, but I'm going to improvise a little bit, and I'm going to use their mattifying powder foundation in a shade that's darker than my actual skin tone. This is in Nutmeg, and I'm going to use this in the crease. Just see what that looks like. I totally understand that this is not an eyeshadow, but you know, it's actually working pretty well. And then for actual eyeshadow today, I'm gonna start with this nice purpley tone here. It's a matte, and I'm gonna apply that to the outer third of the eye. Just in terms of application, I'm noticing it's just a little bit patchy. I'm gonna blend it out and just see how blendable it is. And the color is not as dark as I want it to be, but it seems to be layering well. Now I'm just gonna take a clean fluffy brush, and I'm going to blend that out a bit. This particular shade is still looking a little bit patchy, and it's fading in certain spots more than others as I'm blending it. So that's a little bit annoying. It's such a pretty color and it's applying so patchy. It might be just this one color. But now I'm gonna go on to this middle shade from the Dusky Woods palette, and I'm going to apply that to the inner part of the eye and blend it into the purple. That was okay. I'm not like super wowed by it. It's not as bright as I kind of was wanting it to be. So I'm gonna take this light shade right here. This is from Blooming Desert. I'm gonna apply that to the inner part and just see if I can like brighten that area up. I don't know, so far guys, these shadows aren't really impressing me. Each of the trios, I feel like they don't create a full look. They're either all shimmer shades or there's not a nice transition shade in there. So you guys can see there, it's quite patchy. I've blended it, I've applied more shadow, blended it, and it's still just not working for me. Now we're gonna go on to their Nourishing Eyeliner. These have jojoba oil in them, so they're supposed to smooth onto the eye nice and easily. They have 3 different shades here. They have black, brown, and midnight gray. So there are the 3 shades on my hand right now. You can see like they're quite pigmented. They were creamy when applying them. They look good. Let's apply these to the eyeballs. I'm gonna start with the brown shade and just see if this is going to be dark enough just to smudge along the lash line. I don't think that's gonna be dark enough, and I think it's just because I have the dark purple on my eye, so we'll go in with the black then. The shade definitely shows up more like a dark gray than a true black on the eyes. You can see there, like I'm applying it, It just takes some work to get it to show up. So that is what it looks like on the eyes right there. It was pulling at the eyelid a bit to get it to blend onto the eyes, and I don't know, I is definitely not one of my favorite pencils. So now we're gonna go on to mascara. They have two different shades, a black brown and then a black, and this is their Nourishing Mascara. It's supposed to add length and definition and supposed to be long wearing as well. I'm gonna be using the classic black today. It has a very bendy wand like so, and the bristles are more of that synthetic plastic kind of a feel. So I'm just gonna apply this to one eye and we'll see what one coat looks like. So that's what one coat looks like on the eyes right there. Definitely more of a soft, natural, everyday mascara. I like the way that it applied. It didn't go on very clumpy. It wasn't too dry. It wasn't too wet. If you're looking for full glam, this is definitely not the way to go. And naturally, because I'm curious, I'm going to be applying two coats because I want them to be as glam as possible. So there's two coats on the eyes right now. This is definitely my favorite product of everything that I have tried so far, and it looks really pretty, nice and fluffy lashes. So far so good. Now we're gonna go on to the brows. They have two different brow shades to choose from, which isn't enough. There needs to be some more shades, but they have blonde and brunette. So blonde is going to be too light and brunette might be a little too dark. So maybe we'll combine them. They have a spoolie brush at one end and then the pencil at the other end. So we'll start with this. I just wanna see how flexible this is. Oh, this is a good one. Excellent. Sometimes I find the bristles aren't strong enough and they just sort of brush over my brow hairs and don't do anything at all. But this one's a good one. So they are the shades right there. We have blonde and brunette. Neither of them are really my shade, but we'll sort of try and blend them and kind of make them more because I really want to test if the formula is any good. The pencil itself is definitely on the creamier side of things. So it doesn't take a lot of work to get the product into the brow. It's not smudging out when I brush through the brow afterward. So far so good. If you like a softer brow pencil, you'll like these. If you want something that's gonna be a little bit harder and give you more of that like lighter brush stroke effect, this is not for you. Just the shade range is not great. Now we're gonna go on to foundation. This is their Goodness Glows foundation. It is supposed to be full coverage, hydrating. It has meadow foam, I guess it says in here, which is going to give you some hydrating properties to your skin. This comes in 12 different shades. I have 3 other shades right here. I'm not really sure what shade I'm going to be, but we have natural beige, almond beige, and buff. And they have a pump applicator. Excellent. You can see there the consistency. It is on the thicker side for a liquid foundation. It's not dripping down my arm. And that's it a little bit blended out. You can see it is quite pigmented. That is gonna be way too light for my skin. And then down here we have almond beige and natural beige. So we have more of the yellow tones and the pinky tones. So I might combine those two together and just see what we're working with. And I'm gonna dip it in my brush and I'm just gonna start applying it to the skin. Okay, that is quite pigmented. I don't like the scent of it. What is that? It's like the mixture of like a floral perfume and BO. It's a great, magical combination. Holding my breath, holding my breath. Is it just me or is it like oxidizing a lot of my skin? It feels like it's darker than when I first applied it. In terms of application, it is very full coverage. You don't need a lot, like a little bit, it's going to go a long way all over your skin. But I feel like up close, it almost has like a little bit of a mask like a look to it. Hold on, I'll show you. So if you look right in this general area, it looks a little bit masky, and I feel like if you had any sort of texture going on in this area, acne, anything, it's just going to emphasize that. Also the scent. The scent is not great. I'm gonna apply some concealer under the eyes and we'll be back for powder. And the powder we're gonna be testing out is actually their powder foundation. So this is gonna add some additional coverage on top. It is a mattifying powder as well. And they have a couple of different shades, I think 6 different shades. It's gonna give you lightweight buildable coverage. And I'm just kind of curious how the two products work together and kind of set my face. So I think today I'm gonna start with the shade Bare and see what this looks like. And if I need to, I'll sort of contour around with this one, which is the almond shade. And I'm gonna try it first with their little sponge that they have, also with the shape of a honeycomb. I'm very excited about that. And we're going to I'll just pat it onto the skin. Oh, that is light. Ruh-roh. Okay, maybe we'll mix it in with some of the almond shade. Okay, mixing the two is definitely a lot better of an option. Between the high coverage foundation and the high coverage powder foundation, it's gonna feel like a lot on your skin. I don't know about mattifying though. I feel like I still look really shiny, which I prefer. I prefer the whole shiny look. but it's definitely not giving me like a matte feel. Maybe I'll try dusting it on with like a brush and see what that looks like. You can see right there, it's just a little bit on the heavier side. I feel like it's not gonna hold up quite well during the day, but from like a normal distance, it does look quite nice on the skin. And the last product we're gonna test out are their blushes. They have 3 different shades to choose from. So we have a coral, more of a warm nude shade, and then a bright pink. Here are the 3 shades swatched on the hand right here. I think I'm gonna go with this one, which is the Bare Peach shade. This shade I think would make actually a nice bronzer for myself personally. Ooh, I like this shade on my skin. That is a nice shade. It's blending out very smoothly. It's buildable, so you can add more where you need, but it's not too like pow over the top when you first apply it. Ooh, I like the blush. Oh, that's very pretty. V nice, many wow. Okay, we're zoomed out. I finished up my makeup look and now I wanna sit down. I wanna talk about these products and also drop them all over the floor. So first we'll start off with the eyeshadows. I just wasn't impressed with them. They were patchy, they're not as impactful on the eyes, and I felt like the colors were missing some of the staples that I would use myself in my kind of everyday makeup look, including like a matte transition shade. I don't like that the packaging feels really cheap, and I just wasn't impressed. For the brow pencils, they're very creamy. If you do not like a creamy eyebrow pencil, you will not like these at all. Also, if you aren't one of these 2 shades, blonde or brunette, you're fresh out of luck. I personally like a softer eyebrow pencil, so it worked really well for me, and these 2 shades worked well for me, but I don't like the fact that they don't have a larger variety of shades, and I also feel like these aren't gonna hold up really well if you live in a hotter climate because they have jojoba oil in them, which is really nourishing, and that's what makes them so creamy, but I feel like it's gonna make them smudge easier too. The eyeliners, at first when I swatched them, I thought they looked really nice and they seemed to apply really well, but putting them onto the eyelids, it pulled at the eyelids a bit. They weren't as creamy as I was expecting, and the black definitely is not, it's not black. I did really like the blushes though. I really like that they have a little bit of a sheen to them. They give this nice glowiness to the skin. I liked all of the different shades. I actually used the Toasted Cinnamon shade as a, you can't see that. This shade right here I used as a bronzer, and it worked really nicely, very smooth and pigmented, but it also blended out really well. The mascara I liked. It was fairly buildable. I would say it leans more on the drier side than really wet, which is good if you end up getting mascara all over your lids all the time. This is probably a good one for you, because I didn't get any transfer at all on the lids, which is awesome because that is me to a T. I always get it on my lids. It gives nice soft fluffy lashes. It's holding my curl really well so far. I thought this was a good mascara. Now onto the foundation. And I have a couple of things about this. Yes, this is very high coverage. A little bit goes a long way for this product, which is great. I feel like by the end of the day, this is gonna break up a lot on my skin. And as I was saying before, any texture acne spots, this is not going to settle well on top of it and stay stuck to it. I'm feeling like it's a little bit heavy for me. I have more dehydrated combination skin, so this isn't a favorite of mine. And going along with that is their mattifying powder foundation. Granted, this is not a setting powder. This is a mattifying foundation, something that would be better suited for someone who has oily skin. Because they didn't have a powder, I wanted to see how this would look on top of the foundation because it has a mattifying element to it. And as you can see on my skin right now, not even kind of a little bit mattifying. And actually after I applied this, I went to go eat and then I came back and I reapplied the powder, and you can still see I'm very dewy. Actually, I'm not even sure I'm dewy anymore. I'm just kind of oily. Now I will try this on its own. However, if it's not able to make a very hydrating foundation be matte, I don't know if it's gonna be able to make your skin look matte either if you have very oily skin. So I mean, overall, I'm not like overly wowed by the things that I tested out. I think that the blushes were probably my favorite of everything that I tried today. I will continue to use these for sure. I think they are gorgeous. I also really like their lipsticks. Where were they? I just pulled one out. Is that what I knocked on the floor? Oh, yeah, it is. These are their natural lipsticks in the shade, this one's in the shade Blush. It is probably my favorite of all of them. This is what it looks like on the skin. I just swatched it for you guys. So pretty. Nothing else really stood out to me. So I'm kind of bummed about that, to be honest. And now I'm gonna go about the rest of my day and I will check in with you guys in a bit. It is now the end of the day. I'm gonna share with you guys what is going on with my face. I'm gonna zoom in because the foundation, spoiler alert, is not looking great. It is starting to break up in this general area. It's also broken up around my enlarged pores. It's starting to pool sort of around my nostril, and it's also come off in this general area right here. Likely also because I've been like going like this while I was editing, so that's partly my fault. It may also be the powder and the fact that I combined a powder foundation with a liquid foundation was just like too much product on my face. And I would just reuse this, except I don't like the smell of it. I just don't. The mascara held up pretty well. It's held the curl on my lash. It's nice and dark. It looks really pretty. It started to transfer just a little bit underneath the eyes, but that could also be because the mattifying powder did not mattify. The eyeshadow I still don't like. It was patchy, and I also wasn't a big fan of the liner from the beginning. It is still there on my eyes, but it has sort of worn off around the outer edge and faded a lot. So again, not one of my favorites. And now I'm excited to finally remove this mask of makeup on my face. And that's everything for this video. Give it a thumbs up if you like first impression videos. If you have any requests for future ones, leave them in the comment section below. And don't forget to follow me on Instagram and check out my Insta story. If you're watching the video right now when it goes live, I am going to be on vacation, and so I'm going to be vlogging the whole process. So I hope you guys enjoyed that. And that's everything. I hope you guys are having a wonderful, wonderful week so far, and I will see you guys all in my next video. Love you girls. Mwah!